From classical to pop, the history of Swedish music. Sweden has a long and storied musical tradition that complements the country's world-class architecture, innovative culture, and breathtaking natural scenery. The music of Sweden has changed drastically over the years, influenced by the country's history, geography, and cultural exchange. This is true of both classical composers like Franz Berwald and more modern pop sensations like ABBA. This article will take you on a musical adventure through the years, charting the evolution of Swedish music from its classical beginnings to the varied and international phenomenon it is today. Traditional origins. In the 18th century, composers such as Johann Gottlieb Naumann and Joseph Martin Krauss helped shape Sweden's musical landscape with their classical music traditions. The man generally considered to have laid the groundwork for Swedish classical music, though, is Franz Berwald. Symphonies, piano concertos, and chamber music pieces by Berwald demonstrated his distinctive combination of romanticism and folk elements from the Nordic countries. Folk music and revival collectors such as Anders Zorn and Eva Hallström helped bring Swedish folk music back into the spotlight as the 19th century came to a close. Folk music ensembles in Sweden, like the Nyckelharpa Orchestra, were born out of this resurgence of interest in traditional music and served to highlight the country's extensive cultural history. Famous bands playing popular music and dance popular music in Sweden peaked in the Roaring Twenties and Roaring Thirties, when dance bands such as Gösta Redlig's Orchestra and Thore Erling's Orchestra ruled the airwaves. During this time, Swedish jazz began to take shape, with stars like Lars Gullin and Bengt Hallberg performing and winning audiences around the world. Folk rock and prog. A wave of Swedish progressive rock and folk music emerged in the 60s and 70s. American folk rock was an influence for Hep Stars, Tages, and Björn Afzelius's Hoola Bandoola Band, while prog bands such as Kaipa, Bo Hansson, and Samla Mamas Mana explored new territory in experimental rock. Music from the 80s to the 90s, Swedish pop and rock bands such as ABBA, Roxette, and Ace of Base became internationally famous in the 80s and the 90s. Dennis Pope and Robin, two pioneers of Swedish electronic music, came of age during this time and set the standard for subsequent generations of producers and DJs. Swedish modern music. With a robust indie scene, a robust culture of electronic music, and a persistent presence on worldwide pop charts, Swedish music is more diverse than ever before today. The Hives, the Cardigans, and First Aid Kit have kept Sweden's reputation for inventive, genre-bending rock music alive, while Robin, Lykke Li, and Tove Lo have become global icons. So, to sum up, the musical development of Sweden is an indication of the country's openness to new ideas, creativity, and cultural legacy. As a result of the country's rich history, diverse landscape, and numerous cultural exchanges, Swedish music has evolved greatly, from purely classical pieces to current pop hits. Looking ahead, one thing is clear: Swedish music will keep on thriving, motivating and enthralling listeners all over the globe.